Hey, guys,
We're having a discussion
we
as
were.
to where to start.
Where to start? And just have to begin.
You got to start
So,
at the beginning.
yeah, but what I want to do today, I want to show you how I prune back the asters, the New England asters, so that they don't crowd out your other plants and they don't get too leggy. You don't have to stake them because they can get up to 5 to 6 feet tall. And I learned this how many years ago when we had that horrible flood in May and everything was covered in mud and muddy water. And I trimmed everything back and found out the asters stay more compact. Now I know it's called the Chelsea cut or the Chelsea chop because this
That
time
sounds
of year,
better.
the
Chelsea
Chelsea chop,
chop.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the UK, they have the Chelsea Flower Show, which is going on. Maybe it was in the end of May. And someday when I get there, I'm going to make Jeanette from the Enthusiastic Gardener meet me there. Maybe she
Oh, I
will.
saw her little fairy garden thing this morning,
I know, that was
Jeanette.
good. So anyhow,
What's the name of
we'll
that? The Enthusiastic
the
Gardener.
Enthusiastic Gardener. Watch Jeanette. She's delightful. She got me started 100 years ago. No,
3 years ago.
COVID. But anyhow, I'm going to be pruning back the asters or doing the Chelsea cut. And we'll get to that. We're in the shade because it's a little
Chelsea
warm today.
chop.
The Chelsea chop. I'm so glad you're here.
Aren't you?
I know.
That's what a good producer does.
There's no cards out there telling me what I'm going to say. It's all
No.
off the cuff. But anyhow, and you can do the Chelsea chop or prune back. These you can plant. You can prune back your not only your asters, your sedums, your phlox, which mine don't need to be pruned back because they're in a great spot. They're against the back border. I think your Achillea, your Rudbeckia, those are probably the main ones you can cut back if you choose to. Right now, this is the 1st of June. You don't want to wait too much longer. We're in a little northern spot. If you were more southern, you probably need to do this in May. But we'll get to that. But before we get over there to do that, I want to show you the 2 new plants that I planted thanks to Barb. One's for sun, one's for my new shade area. I really like the leaf texture. But let's look at this. It's a red Husker penstemon. And the cool thing about the red Husker penstemon, it grows in direct sun. Like this is going to get direct sun, this little corner, white blooms. It can get up to 28 inches tall. When you plant them, and maybe 15 inches wide, it produces slowly. And when you plant them, though, you want to make certain that the crown is not under the soil. So I've kept the crown high. These are nice plants for people like me who don't like to fuss because I did add a little compost to the soil because there was some clay in the soil, but they do not like to be fertilized. If you over fertilize them or add compost to them, they shortens their life. So that's a non-fussy plant. What you'll have to do, so I didn't add even any biotone to this plant. I just planted it in my soil with a little added compost because we did have clay. I took the clay out. I've shown you that before. Now, when the bloom is, once this quits blooming, you cut it clear down to where the bloom stalk begins, and you leave that nice green leafy base. I've never grown this before. I don't believe it blooms back. Someone out there can tell me that. But that is your red Husker penstemon, or Husker red penstemon, but the blooms are white. And the leaves probably get a little more dark as they're exposed to sunlight. So I planted that yesterday, and then let me show you the Virginia, the pink Virginia that Barb gave me that's great for sun or shade. There are different varieties. This variety, she was telling me because it has the dark green leaf, it's a border plant for sure. It will get a beautiful pink bloom on it. The texture is lovely, particularly against my Brunnera. I really like this texture. You know, I'm hoping I can create a little more of a border. It'll stay low growing and gets a pretty pink bloom. Again, it's zone. This is zone 3 through 9. The other one is 4 through 8. If I'm wrong on that, I'll make certain I put that up there. I think they're both deer and rabbit resistant. This likes, it can take, the penstemon is drought tolerant. This can take, it likes well drained, moist soil, but it also can take a little bit of dryness. And this is definitely dry shade. I'll keep my eye on it. I'm close to a water source, so I can always keep it watered. That's helpful. And we'll see how it does in this area. But I know Barb has had good success with her Virginias, and this one should be nice for me. So you plant it normally. You don't have to keep the crown up above the soil. It's, I need to put the sign here or I'll forget what it is. So there goes Virginia pink, nice front of the border plant. I'm keeping mine in the shade. I need more shade texture. It says it can take some sun. The lighter the leaf, the less likely it can tolerate the sun. So there's many varieties. This is my first. So that's what I did yesterday. But let me show you how we're going to take care of today with these asters. And then I have one more thing I want to show you on how I keep the color so true on my alliums. But the asters, you can cut them back, excuse me, by a half or a third. I'm going to keep this rounded. I want to cut this back so you can see my phlox better. And you go to an area where it tends to branch. And so I'm going to cut right above a branching area. What happens when you do this? It will branch. It will stay compact. It won't flop, won't crowd the other plants. And you can just go at it. I've done this for years. It keeps me from having to tie anything up. And again, I don't like tying things up. So it's all up to your design, how you want this to look. And I want to keep it in more of a rounded shape. So some of these will be kept a little taller as I get to the center. Anything in the back to keep from crowding out my daylilies, anything else that might be, so it doesn't splay out. And I have a little beginning of a phlox here, garden phlox, and I'm going to cut this back so the garden phlox can show a little bit, get a little more air into the plant too. And I will throw all of this on my compost pile. And you want to do this like right now when it's a dry, sunny day. It's stressful enough to be doing this to the plant, but this way you don't open up to where you've cut that off to get any fungus into the plant. And so a dry day would be good.
So a dry day is better.
A dry day is better.
Yeah.
For any kind of pruning like this.
Are you getting your hair cutting Jones taken care of?
I think so.
All right. Good. Then
I think that's it.
You won't bother me anymore?
No, I will not bother you. Although I'd like to take a little bit off the back, Reg.
Oh,
anyhow, so that's what we're doing today. I'm just giving my New England asters a little bit of a cut. And you can see how it's already taken the weight off of that plant. This will be able to stand a little taller.
It's opened up that plant too.
Yeah, and so then you can see the phlox in the back. The only other aster I'm going to do is right over here. And I'll keep it a little lower, but not much. Again, I'm just going to take probably a third off of this plant, if that much. And this, what'll happen now, it'll branch out. The blooms will stay compact.
It'll bloom? It'll bloom?
Yeah, it'll bloom.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. This doesn't bloom until late August.
Oh, I see.
Your asters. Depends on your weather. Our weather's being really peculiar. Here it is in June, and we're going to have 90-degree days. So these asters will stay nice and compact, nice purple bloom. And that's how easy this is. This Chelsea chop, or, you know, what happened when I had to cut these things off after a flood. That's, what did that take, a minute or two?
About 2.5. About
I know. And I'll be so much happier because they won't be flopping over and they won't crowd the lithorum. They won't crowd the other plants. And my sedums, I've never cut back. You can, but I like mine to get fuller. You can see they've already started to bloom, a weed. But let me show you my little trick for keeping those blooms on your alliums nice and purple. I did this last year. Now, you can send me all your comments.
I'm sure you're going to hear something.
Yeah, but aren't they beautiful? And the way I do that.
What are you doing? Here, let me get a better picture.
This is no hunting purple. Okay, I wanted a purple, and so I went to P&G. And you definitely want to be using a piece of cardboard so that if there's a pretty plant that you don't want to be purple. Now, how about that, guys? And I did this last year to my, oh, what are those in the shade?
Astilbes.
Astilbes. But I used white paint, and it held up all season. It didn't kill the plant. And I've done them to a nice crop of alliums over there against the grasses. And Reg said, wow, it looks so good from the deck.
It does. They really stick out.
It gives you color.
It
seems dumb.
Like cheap or something.
It is cheap. And you don't have to do it, but I'm doing it this year, and we'll see how well that holds up. If not, I'll just come back out and give them a little spray. So that is my
So
fun
it doesn't
little,
hurt the plant.
it didn't hurt the astilbes. And I've heard, because I didn't get this, I think it was Jess, I was watching her last year, and someone sent that into her when they told her that they spray painted their allium heads while on the plant.
Which one's Jess?
Jess that's the name of her video,
okay.
YouTube show is Jess.
Jess.
She's wonderful.
Yeah.
She's out of Michigan. And you know, she lives in a lot colder area. But so when she mentioned that on her channel, I came down and bought white spray paint and I put them on my astilbes this is only after they're bloomed and, you know, they're dried out. So there you have that little trick. And if I had more alliums, I would do it again. But
I just wild with that spray can there.
Yeah, I know. Anyhow, guys, that's it. Get out and get your asters cut now. You don't want to wait too much later. And anything else like your phlox, if yours is overgrown and you think it's going to flop too much, that's a nice stand of phlox. And I don't have to, it's in an area, it doesn't crowd anything really. So easy things to do to get ready for summer. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.